on the part of the Zambian people. This is a wasted year. On the part of the UPND government, it's a wasted year. And it's a wasted year because of so many reasons. So many reasons, because in 2024, Zambian people saw suffering like no other year. Zambian people saw poor governance by the UPND government like no other year. The Zambian people saw corruption, illicit financial flows like no other year. The Zambian people saw hypocrisy like no other year. In other words, the country has never experienced the negative things that they did experience in 2024. In 2024, this is when Zambians were load-shedded for hours that have never occurred in our country. This is a time when Zambians bought mealie meal so expensive like no other year. This is the time when commodities, transport, it has just been bad. It's a write-off. It's load-shedded for 3 days, and when power comes, you are given for 2 hours and power goes. This is 2024. In 2024, while you are being load-shedded, as a Zambian, government is exporting power to other countries. Some countries are even boasting that 80% of our deficit, we are getting it from Zambia. So it's really been poor on the part of government, but it's been harsh on the part of the people. I do think that I have to maintain my position that 2024 is a write-off. 2024 has brought about some announcements, terrible announcements by some players in the economy. I read somewhere that Parmalat is going to close their production line in Zambia because it's unsustainable to continue producing in Zambia. And to maintain their customers here in Zambia, they will go to South Africa and import their products and then come and satisfy their demand here in Zambia. Now, production has become so expensive. Parmalat has told us that. So those who are operating in the manufacturing sector today will tell you it is unsustainably expensive to produce goods and services. Unsustainably expensive. This is why Parmalat made that announcement. But if you became simple and just looked at the announcement Parmalat made, you may not go backwards. And listen that even in the trading industry, there has been serious problems. Okadeco closed their Kafue, the main branch on Kafue Road, citing what? Bad economic conditions. Okadeco has closed that mega shop which was on Kafue Road, and they said the reason we are closing is bad economic conditions, confirmed by a big player in the manufacturing sector, Parmalat. But just go to Arcades shopping mall. Go and see how many shops have been closed. Okay, go to Woodlands shopping mall. Go and see how many shops are not occupied. Go to Lewanika Mall. This is what is replicated in smaller shopping malls. This is what is replicated in smaller towns. This is what is replicated in our villages. So we have suffered as a country. We have suffered as a people. We have suffered not because of anything, because of poor governance of the UPND government. And I'll say this with a level head. Sure. I think it is poor governance to export power when you are load shedding people. Okay. I actually think it is poor governance to export maize when your people are queuing up for mealie meal. I think it is extremely poor governance to give a mining sector transportation business when the business sector is, or the transportation sector has got no business on account of, this generally poor economic environment.
So let's talk about, you've mentioned quite a lot.
Yeah.
And let's try to maybe pick some of the points and seek your further clarification.
Yeah.
You talked about it being yesterday, and part of your main explanation is the issue of load shedding. Now let's look at the power situation at the moment.
Yeah.
And many reasons have been advanced.
Yeah.
And let me mention two main points. The drought situation.
Yes.
Which has been explained both in Zambia and in surrounding regions. Yeah. How we experienced a bad rainfall pattern in the last farming season, resulting to drought, and of course it providing a multiply effect in the energy sector. And you are on the patriotic front ticket.
Yes.
The previous administration that was presiding the affairs of the country from 2011 until 2021. And you've also been mentioned that there was no much attention that you applied as your administration in ensuring that the power sector fights off, challenges some of these effects such as drought, no proper infrastructure development, no proper diversification of power from the much dependent of hydro to look at other sources such as wind and solar. Now you are complaining on the problems you are partly being blamed for as the previous administration.
Yeah.
Provide that.
Okay, so thank you so much, Alexander. I think it's normal for people to apportion blame. And it's okay. I think it's okay for people to come and say, Patriotic Front, you were in power, you needed to do this and that in order to solve this problem. But that isn't what I'm talking about, okay? I am talking about a government exporting power when it is load shedding people. In spite of the El Nino, which caused the drought, Zambia was still generating power, which power Zambia was exporting. You understand? So my main issue is that you can't export power when you have so little. You are load shedding your people 2 days. 2 days, my friend. And then when power comes, it comes for 2 hours. That is the time you are exporting power to other countries. That's irresponsible. That's careless. That's lack of care for people. That is hatred for people. That is what I'm talking about. But did we have enough power generated from water to cover the whole country? Maybe no. But the little that we generated needed to be consumed here in Zambia so that you reduce the cost of doing business, so that Okadeco does not close, so that the workers of Okadeco continue to work and continue to survive, so that Parmalat does not promise to close production on account of an excessively expensive production structure, cost structure. You had to keep your power to your people. And I know that the same reasons which were advanced for exporting power are exactly the reasons that government was advancing for exporting maize. One minister would dance on the floor of the House. By the House, I mean the National Assembly, saying, we will never stop exporting. We will never stop exporting maize. So, while we can say in this past farming season, there was a problem. There was a problem. So we didn't expect the country to produce enough maize to feed the people. We'll go back to what you exported. Assuming you did not export with that amount of arrogance, where are we going to have this cost of mealie meal we are having now? The answer is no. Because as government, you are going to offload the maize onto the market. And mealie meal was going to be reasonably cheaper. So I have a problem with the decisions to export and export. And by the way, some of that maize was actually just stolen. Where you give companies, like a company which was quoted in one of the Auditor General's report called Gordon Manela, they were given maize by government to sell, and once they sold that maize, they never paid for it to FRA. So that is pure theft. Now you can't condone corruption, theft, illicit financial flows, maladministration, national division when people are suffering in the manner they are suffering. You've got to do better, at least in one.
So your proposal is. I need to be
clear.
Yeah, I want you to be clear.
Yeah.
Because part of the explanation on the export of power, Zambia belongs to the Southern African Power.
Yes, yes.
And we have many agreements in ensuring that there's an exchange of the energy sector with other countries as per this agreement.
Yeah.
And part of some of the explanations I've gotten from other experts and government officials is that certain agreements are not as easy as one can perceive it to be, to just cut off in light of the challenges that we have, because these are long-term agreements.
It's not cutting off. It's not cutting off, Alexander.
And I believe as well that government did announce last year that they've recorded some of the exports that they've done on power to other countries, at least at a minimal percentage. Yeah, we are being given a picture that it could have been worse if government didn't undertake certain plans, such as reducing the export percentage of power and the introduction of the emergency tariff plan, among many other. Don't you think that's it's irresponsible?
It's irresponsible on the part of government to even come and say it could have been worse. Okay, it's totally irresponsible. Already people are going. For 12 hours Mutotwe's budget, there should be what is known as contingency. Okay, so you have to build flexibility in the decisions that you take. So you are now telling the suffering majority Zambians that your contracts are inflexible. It is responsible that you entered into inflexible contracts. That's number one. Number two, you should have been able to go back to negotiate given the new circumstances. And by the way, at what point did government become aware that we were going to have a drought? They became aware a long time ago, because the temperatures recorded on the Pacific Ocean are done. Maybe this year they are already doing temperatures that will affect next year's weather. This is why El Niño would be announced like today. You are talking about weather in Zambia the following year. This is why an El Niño would be announced. Listen, these weather temperatures are not even in these. You are not going to record today, and this temperature will affect weather today. The weather will be like months from now. So government was aware that we were running with an El Niño. Government was aware, and those announcements were made way in advance. So after that announcement, didn't you then become aware that this possibility of the drought will cause us this pain, and we have to begin to look at all the agreements that we have which are affected by the conditions that come with the weather changes? UPND knew that. So
your proposal is to relook at the agreements that we have.
It is.
How easy?
My proposal.
Yeah, how easy would it be, especially money is involved?
My proposal.
Yes, please.
Yeah. My proposal is to make sure that you stop exporting power when you are not generating enough. So as you enter into these agreements, enter into meaningful, flexible agreements. Okay. Once you have entered into those and you are unable to produce sufficient power, like the case has been in 2024, you need to stop supplying power to other countries at the expense of your people. Then the money involved. Listen, the money has to be involved in doing business. Where have you taken the money that you have been receiving? The money you have been receiving when you are exporting the power. Where has the money gone? Why are you only concerned about the money you may lose as a result of modifying a contract? Why are you not concerned about the money you are receiving? But also, you are the same ZESCO who has been able to send 2 billion kwacha in error. Well, I think you need to go there. You need to go there. You need to go and see for yourself. I think CDF began to operate in Lunte a long time ago. You know, my predecessors used to carry CDF in their pockets, you know, in their bags. They would line up at the window at Parliament to collect CDF and go with it in the constituents. They'll buy things and distribute to people. When I came, CDF was being managed by the council, the Lunte Town Council. It's helped to develop a number of things in Lunte. From 2016, when I was first elected, up to now, CDF continues to be applied. What has changed now is that there's more money, okay, going into the constitution, rural electrification. And I have to tell you, in the 2024 CDF, 1 million kwacha was subtracted from Lunte for rural electrification, but nothing has happened in terms of rural electrification. It is in Lunte where that priest, remember that priest who said, do you remember that clip? It is in Lunte at Kapatu Mission. Where power were reached during the time PF was in office is where it is even up to now, in spite of UPND government deducting 1 million from that money in order to take rural electrification to the constituency. So it hasn't happened. They took money to buy an ambulance. You know those ambulances which were procured from Garden? Part of that money came from Lunte. It is.
What exactly are you saying when you say procured from Garden?
Yeah, from a pharmacy in Garden. The ambulances which UPND procured from a pharmacy, from a pharmacy store in Garden.
Are you being political or you're being truthful?
Oh, you are not aware about that?
You can explain. I mean,
part of that money came from Lunte. Those ambulances, the minister came on the floor of the house to explain. In fact, in some quarters we are hearing that even the one of the of Lunte. Of course, a few things have happened in Lunte. I can tell you that I have seen some, solar-powered water reticulation, mini water reticulation plants in Lunte. In the past few years, I have seen some classroom blocks. I have seen refurbishment of some clinics. I have seen desks being the operations of the Lunte Town Council. It is not the Member of Parliament. It is the the President who delivers that through the application of the council. You understand? So I have seen a few of those being done. Some of them poorly done, and I can tell you, I have seen dry boreholes, being sunk, dry boreholes in Lunte where there are so many rivers and streams. They sink a dry borehole and put a solar-powered plant. I have seen that. I have seen a solar-powered plant which cannot work because there was no earthing and lightning struck. I have seen a solar-powered plant where the solar panels have been stolen because the CDF did not take into account the security requirements of that installation. I have seen those issues. So while there is this and lightning struck, I have seen a solar-powered plant where the solar panels have been stolen. In many constituencies, there are also challenges that require to be resolved. To become a white elephant.
Uncoordinated.
Okay. I wish the very things, and let me take Lunte as an example. I wish government could do a bridge on Luangwa at Chewe. Okay?
Sure.
I wish government could do a bridge at Kapatu Mission at a very problematic crossing point at Kaungo. Okay? That's what I wish government would do. But to do that, government would need to pool the money, maybe pool CDF, amounts CDFs and put together and do those issues. I wish government could do a gravel road from Yowani all the way to Chewe and not to stop at Saratemba because of the cancellation of that contract. I wish that the district administration for Lunte could begin to take shape. I wish there could be money to begin to construct the district administration so that people effectively stop going to Mporokoso or to Kasama or even to to Luwingu for those services that need to occur in a district. You see that?
Sure.
So for government to do that, government needs to provide adequate resources. This is what used to happen when CDF was 1.6. In Lunte, during my last 5 years, the last parliament, we were able to construct communication towers. I can count for you the points. It's not necessary. We were able to construct health posts. We were able to construct gravel roads. Some of them were work in progress when PF left, lost power to govern. Some of them, like the bridge at Lukulu, which has been completed, we were doing a road there. It has been abandoned. The road from Yowani to Chewe has been cancelled. Okay, one of them has been completed. The road from Chitoshi to Nkandavana, it's been completed. But the other road, 2 roads have been cancelled by UPND in Lunte constituency. So I wish that is where we focused. Okay, sure. And then we users, they procure for everybody. Every constituency, a Land Cruiser, same type, same horsepower, so everything, the suspension is the same. Even a Land Cruiser which is going to Narikwanda constituency, Narikwanda is covered by sand everywhere. A constituency like Kalabo, for example, that constituency, sand is like this. But that same Land Cruiser which is going to Lunte is the one going to Kalabo. This is how UPND is looking at things. You may call it genius, you may call it colossal in the mind, but it may not be colossal. It may not be genius. It may be a lack of analysis. It may be a lack of, looking at the conditions of each and every area and being able to take equitable development. Equal development is not equitable. And in this case, it's not even equal development. This is equal funding. Equal funding and levels of corruption may even be different. Okay, levels of mischievous activities may be different. The integrity levels of leaders in these areas is different. So you have a situation where leaders are the ones who are in the forefront of procuring earth-moving equipment.
Okay, let's look at the other point that you raised. You accused the current administration of high levels of corruption. And I'm thinking to say, we have the SEC, we have law enforcement agencies that are hungry to receive tips of corruption, and here you are saying that corruption is there in this current administration. Can you provide more insight to that?
Alexander, it's simple. Wasn't it in 2024 when we have heard of a PS granting a contract to his own company? Isn't it in this past year that we have heard of another PS granting a contract without tender process?
Which ministries are those?
Well, I've heard of Ministry of Health and I've heard of Ministry of Education.
So the Ministry of Health
and Education,
they corruptly awarded contracts.
That is my perception, because I have heard of a PS giving a contract to a company that belongs to that same PS. I have heard of a PS giving a contract without the 34.5 billion kwacha worth of illicit financial flows flowing out of this country. I have heard of 2.8 billion dollars, $2.8 billion flowing out of this country as illicit financial flows. I have heard that the Financial Intelligence Center has given 810 reports to law enforcement agencies. 810 reports concerning thieves, people who are involved in illicit financial flows. So it's not even for me to provide leads or hints. These reports are in the public domain.
You are a parliamentarian.
No. But what I'm telling you, my brother, is that it's not even for me to provide these hints to the law enforcement agencies. But this is a country where the fight against corruption is so disorganized. So disorganized, such that the Anti-Corruption Commission has got no substantive Director General. The Director General resigned. I don't know whether he did resign or he was caused to resign. And after that, a board member, in fact, before he resigned, before the Chief Executive Officer resigned, a board member rose up in arms and said, it's too much. We are supposed to be fighting corruption as SEC, but there is too much corruption here at SEC. There's too much corruption here and also at the Ministry of Justice. Too much corruption where? At the Anti-Corruption Commission and at Ministry of Justice. What followed? The Chief Executive Officer for SEC resigned. And I'm saying, I don't know whether he was caused to resign. What later followed was the board at SEC was dissolved by the president. He scrapped the board. So as things stand, as I'm speaking to you now here in 2025, there is no substantive Chief Executive Officer at the Anti-Corruption Commission, and there's no board. There's no board. So literally, there's no governance at SEC. So even as you are urging me to provide leads, to who?
So yes, because this is what I'm trying to ask you, Mr. Kafwaya. Yeah. What are you doing with that information? I mean,
I'm talking right now.
You've given a catalogue of corruption suspected cases.
Allegation, yeah.
That you have, and Why not put a face to it? Why don't you seek judicial interpretation? Why don't you seek ministerial explanations? You're a member of parliament, and I believe some of the people that you're accusing of being behind such matters of corruption, you sit with them in one house.
Well, I am not accusing anyone that I've mentioned, but I'm accusing the UPND government in general.
And some of those ministers are members of parliament.
Of course, the ministers who ACC told us are thieves. They are appearing before ACC for interrogations. I don't know if you know. If you don't know, let me tell you, and maybe through you for the benefit of the viewers. ACC told the National Assembly of Zambia that there are ministers under the UPND government now who are appearing at ACC for interrogations because they are suspected criminals. They are suspected corrupt elements. But also, some time back, the president complained that they are learning how to steal. His appointees were learning how to steal from those people they found.
From your administration?
No. The PF left. What remained is civil service. And I can assure you, civil servants must be respected. Civil servants must be respected at all times. If you think that a particular civil servant is erring, that civil servant must be disciplined. I am not that leader who is going to put civil servants together as, these are MMD civil servants, these are PF civil servants, these are UPND civil servants. I will never do that. I think that when President Lungu sat in State House, there was a private secretary there who had been there since Kaunda was there. Those must be respected. You can't stereotype them. But the civil service being the machinery it is, people will keep living by way of naturalization. Others will be fired. Others will be retired in national interest or whatever. Others will be packed, like the offer 400 who have been packed at the cabinet office by the UPND administration, and others will join.
Sure.
So those people need to be respected. They are not there to teach others how to steal. They are there to serve. But those who are malfunctioning, they must be sanctioned according to the problems they cause to the system.
Let's look at another aspect. You are coming from the Patriotic Front, and many have stated that currently the opposition seem disorganized, as the words you've used as well.
Yeah.
Disorganized and less
when you look at those words.
so
But
as PF,
I'm coming to, I was just starting to respond to that. It's very important that that you are clear. Now, if the president himself does not want the opposition, particularly PF, to reorganize, it is justifiable for the people to say you are disorganized. Okay? But we in the opposition, we must find a way of coming together. This is why you have to appreciate the efforts of President Edgar Lungu for what it's doing to bring the opposition together. Bring the opposition together and bring efficacy to the opposition. While the opposition may be bad for politics when it comes to the ruling UPND, it is good for the country, because I can bet that no ruling party MP is happy about the 60 billion kwacha illicit financial flows, but they will never talk about it. None of them are happy that people are being load-shedded in the manner they are being load-shedded, but they will never talk about it. The only hope for the people to speak so that President Hakainde hears, it's us in the opposition. And for us to be able to speak, we must be able to be provided a platform. But take an example of myself and a few other MPs and what we have been able to go through. For us who have said, it's not about us, it's about the people. I was elected in Lunte. Some of my friends who have suffered like myself under the UPND government will also tell you I was elected in my respective constituency. So it's not about me. If you are so interested in me, you can take me out. You can remove me. And the people there will put another person. Or if you are so despotic, if you are such a dictatorial government, what you can do is just put whoever you want. Because after all, UPND does not follow the rule of law. The UPND has demonstrated that they are completely incapable of following the law in many things that they do. Many things. Sale of public assets. Mopani, as we are speaking, is gone without a vote in the National Assembly. This road here from Lusaka to Ndola has gone without a vote in the National Assembly. If I hear that they are about to sell the presidential jet, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. If I hear that there are maneuvers to sell the private jet without the Zambian people having a say on it, I would not be surprised, because already I have seen the road go. And if you think this road hasn't gone, go to this toll gate here at Katoba. Go and get a receipt. You will see that the person who has put nothing in the construction of that road is actually the one collecting the money.
So many explanations that government does provide. I mean, you talked about Mopani, and I think it was a huge debate in Parliament where the minister was given a chance to explain that transaction, and of course the critics are citing what the Constitution says when it comes to disposing of national assets. And same as the transaction with regards the Lusaka Ndola Geo carriageway. Many explanations have been provided both in Parliament and outside in public by the stakeholders involved in this, including the Minister of Infrastructure. You are not satisfied, and whatever they are saying is not justified.
Let me tell you, my brother, there will be consequences. There will be consequences for abrogating the law. This I can tell you. There will be consequences. And I warn of consequences because the law should be the law as it is, not as it ought to be. Ndola Lusaka Road is a public road. Those toll gates, which have been privatized now, were public toll gates under NRFA. They have been privatized. The privatization of those toll gates, of this road, has not followed the requirement of the Constitution. This is not a sale. This is a transfer. This road has been transferred from government to another entity for a period of so many years, over 20 years. And if you can't listen to the text in the Constitution deliberately, I think there will be consequences. And I do think that this is the time when UPND needs to begin to listen to us. As I said, there could be many things. I saw they were advertising, urban hotel. Okay, that urban hotel which is near Crossroads, because you have diluted the shareholding of Mopani to only 49%, and you are saying Mopani has got no interest anymore in that hotel. So whoever is going to buy, they will be buying only 49% worth of that hotel when it is going away 100%. There will be consequences.
What consequences are you talking about?
The consequences will be the law will take its course. There will be consequences.
When?
Well, time will come. Time will come, because right now it's a UPND doing this. And the UPND is happy to do all these things unconstitutionally because they have the power to govern. One day, they will not have the power to govern.
All right. We are in 2025, and soon, and very soon, because time flies, we'll be saying bye-bye to 2025 and we'll come brand new of 2026. Let's look at your political plans. Last conversations we had about some few years ago, I did ask you what plan you had in the nearest future. Of course, I hinted my question based on you having any presidential ambitions. Yes, and I believe you gave that answer. But let's look at where you are now. Are you recontesting your seat? Are you saying bye-bye to the parliamentary duty? And maybe you've gained enough experience to look at the broader picture of saving Zambia as a whole?
Well, that's an interesting question, in the sense that I am PF, and that in PF there was that process of people expressing interest to run the party, and I did express that interest. And so I would say that when PF was there and that platform, that window opened, I developed that interest, to create myself as an option for the Patriotic Front members. And I did create myself as an option. And people began to look at me. So for those who came to me prior to that expression of interest, they came to confirm by those who joined in after that expression of interest in saying you can be an alternative for the party and possibly an alternative for the country. So clearly I held my position as such. But the owner of the position came back. Okay, when the owner of the position came back, there was no other thing to do but to sit back and take my constituents back and begin to focus my energies and everything else on the constituents. So as things stand now, we have to tender our support to the Patriotic Front leadership as they also integrate the ideas of Tonse and other opposition players who would find Tonse attractive, to provide alternative leadership to the current UPND leadership. So clearly for me, I'll offer my utmost support to the PF leadership as they integrate with other Tonse leaders to see to it that we create a healthy, opposition environment. And I'm happy to, to be that player.
Your next year plans, are you recontesting?
It's a possibility for me to recontest. It's a strong possibility. And this is where maybe the general public may not be aware. In 2016, I contested on PF. In 2021, I contested on PF. In 2026, I may contest on PF or any platform under the Tonse Alliance, which will be provided. Okay, but the point is, it's not up to me entirely to recontest. It's up to consensus within the constituency, consensus at the province, in Northern Province, and then consensus at at the national level of that governance. So I am an option for Lunte. I remain a very strong option for Lunte, as I do for any other proposition.
We're coming to the end of the program. Let me allow you to give us your final remarks in closing.
That was a short program.
Sure. We're almost hitting an hour.
Oh, nice. Well, Alexander, I can't appreciate you more for inviting me to this program. But maybe in conclusion, for me, it's just some advice to the UPND government. UPND, you have been in office now for a considerable period of time. Begin to listen to people. People have suffered and they continue to suffer. The only way this suffering can reduce is by you as a government to U-turn. You have to do a 360 degrees, begin to focus on things that affect the people. Instead of increasing taxes the way you are increasing taxes for Zambians importing cars, rental income tax, you are increasing property transfer tax for the Zambian people. You need to consider reducing those taxes. You also consider reducing pay as you earn. And then go to the rich people, the mines, go and collect, meaningful mineral royalty tax. Go and collect the meaningful taxes from there. That is when you are going to ameliorate the suffering of the Zambian people, and just stop thinking about, archaic things like those laws, those pieces of legislation that the UPND executive brought to the National Assembly, the cyber crimes and cyber security, where you want people to stop talking. The day people will stop talking, you won't be able to know what is bothering people. So your plans will be as bad as the 2025 budget, which has not seen any stakeholder consultation whatsoever. I urge the UPND to U-turn. Start consulting people. You won't have to transport, people from other provinces to take them to